I have been loving all of your recent stuff, and I really like that you're not afraid to kind of jump into not even like all political, but like social and cultural
Yeah.
topics that are really relevant. And you offer a third perspective a lot of times, which I think is really beautiful because there's so much division when it comes to anything polarizing. And sometimes maybe that's necessary, right? Like they're very much, I believe there is like good and evil, but I think it would be a really good practice to exercise third perspective and what other angle can we kind of look at this thing. And the one that I thought was interesting was it's this football player, and I'm going to mess up his name. Buckhurst. I don't even
Yes,
know. I don't
Oscar.
follow
Yeah.
sports. Like one of my co-hosts on my other show, he's always like, anytime someone talks about sports, just go, yay, sports, because I have no idea what I'm talking about. But I did see his speech that kind of went viral, and I was really surprised at the backlash that
Yeah.
a lot of people are having,
Yeah.
especially these high-powered celebrity women. And your perspective, like my interpretation of your post was his solution wasn't exactly the answer either. So I guess when it comes to women, there is a huge lack of purpose or like
Mhm.
feeling like we fit in to a lot of things. And
Mhm.
I would love your perspective and then I'll share mine. But like, what is the solution to these women that they don't feel the career boss babe thing is the solution? They don't want to be a stay at home and they're looking for some kind of hybrid solution.
Yeah. Uh, Such a great question, a great conversation, and something we could talk about for days, I feel, because I think the problem for women today is that we're not valued. The feminine isn't valued. So what I think the feminist movement got wrong, although, like, of course, we want equal opportunity, we want to be valued as equal, all those things, of course. But what happened was that we were kind of pushed into this working professional success model for men, and so that's not helping us because we are, and as you know, like we were just talking about this, being a mom, trying to juggle all the things, all the roles that we play, as a spouse, as a mom, as a business woman, all these things, it's really tough. And coming into, and I used to work in the corporate world, and it was just so hard that I had to leave that world when I became a mom because it just wasn't, it was a choice that we made when our kids were born, is that, am I going to be the mom who's away all the time traveling and doing her business and then just hiring a nanny to take care of the kids and raise the kids, or am actually just going to take a break from working and being at home with my mom, with the kids? But either way, I feel that, and that's a choice, and I respect whatever choice a woman makes, but it's really hard, it's a really tough one because you lose either way, because being at home, and that's something that I've struggled with, what is, like, who am I, what's my identity as a stay-at-home mom, and what's my value, am I really valued by my spouse, by society? Not really. So it's like, it's a tough, I think it's a really tough world for women today. And the world that we are sort of pushed into corporate wise and business wise is a male world. And so we're just going in there in our masculine energy and not really bringing what we have to bring to the table, which is our feminine energy, if that makes sense.
And with a quick interruption to the episode, I hope you're really enjoying the conversation. If you could take a second out of your time and hit that like and subscribe, it would help us out a ton. Thank you, and let's get back to the episode. For me, the frustrating part, because I am still very much trying to figure it out. I feel weekly that I have these internal conflicts where I'm trying to figure out what is the life that I really want and how do I make that happen? Because for me, my pattern is getting in my own way all
Mm,
of the time. I'm constantly doing that. And a lot of it is kind of like that Eckhart Tolle way of thinking, which is almost all of the suffering that you are experiencing has not happened and never will happen. It's just all in your mind.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, well, how can I alleviate that? Because it's always these worries of not showing up 100% in work, right? Like we've rescheduled this twice because of me, and I had like personal family stuff I had to move around. And then today, like we have people in town that kind of extended their trip, and like they're all out and I'm here. And it's like always feeling like you're supposed to be in multiple places at the
Yeah.
same time, and it's
Yeah.
impossible. So crafting your life very intentionally. And I think where this I'm so sorry I'm messing up his name, but this football player
Yeah.
is getting it right is that I was fed a lie, which is that you can have everything all at once. And that's
Yep.
simply not true,
Yep.
especially as a woman. And it's not because of like the patriarchy. Like I hate that word so much. It's not
Yeah.
because of the patriarchy. It is because anyone who has children know that for the first however many years they just want mama.
Yep.
Right? Like there is a difference
Yep.
and it's just biology. So, yeah, that does mean that the mom is going to be the one that is making a lot of the sacrifices on the front end. And that's going to flip later, especially if you have boys. But you do have to have an honest inventory of what do you want. So, do you want to sacrifice some of that time and, um, what's the word? Like delegate some of the childcare, and then that way you can focus on some of your career. Do you want to just do your career? But I think that a lot of the feeling of inadequacy or like not showing up is just because we haven't committed to a decision in like an honest way. So
Yeah.
we perpetuate the lie that we can do it all at the same time, and it's not true. There's going to be a trade-off. And for me, I'm very lucky because I can do this podcast like once a week, and we have these other huge projects. Like we're trying to open up a school, and it's like,
Oh, wow.
yes, I know. Huge
Awesome.
undertaking. And I was like, you know what? If it comes down to it, it's going to like the school is going to take all of my time, and that is for my kids. And if I have to stop the podcast for a while, that's what I do because I have to be honest about my priorities.
Yeah.
And I think moms feel guilty because they know on some level they're prioritizing their career over their kids when they are making that choice to trade off. And it must be really hard if that work is not yours, like if you're working for someone else. So it's different if you are an author or public
Yeah.
speaker, podcast or whatever, and you're reinvesting into yourself. But to give something which is your most precious asset, which is your time,
Yeah.
to someone else, especially if you feel underappreciated, like that's got to suck. So
Yeah.
I think he does get it right, is that we have been fed this lie that your career is the most important thing and that's what is going to be seen as valuable. And it's just not true. It's not true at all because you go through a cemetery. One of my friends just had a bit about this, and he's like, what do you notice on tombstones? It's not net worth, or if you were a C
Mm,
executive, it's like mom, father,
that's
son, like
right.
all of these touch points. And that's where value is.
That's right. And where I think Butker is really courageous to speak out, although he did get it was actually he did get standing ovation at the school that he at the college. And a
Hmm.
lot of people have applauded him, on social media as well. So but there of course there was this huge backlash that it's sort of unacceptable to but I where I think he's right is that it's okay. It's valuable to choose to be at home as well and take care of your family. And as you said, whether we like it or not, there are sacrifices with both.
Hmm.
So you take a break in your career in your professional work to stay at home with the kids. You're actually sacrificing. You can never get back what you those years that you kind of lost in the business world.
Hmm.
And if you choose to work and do whatever you can at home with the kids, you're also sacrificing. So it's a really tough choice. But I do think that in our society today, it is not at all, at least not in my world, in my where I live, and how we are brought up here in Norway and Europe, and I worked in New York as well. It's not even there. It is not acceptable or encouraged today to be a stay-at-home mom. And
Mm.
that I think is really sad because it is the most important job in the world.